The alarm bells screamed through the corridors of Kepler's Rest. But Ambassador Vera knew they would not save her people. Her 4 delicate hands trembled as she pressed them against the communication console, watching the enemy ships grow larger on the viewing screen. The Korak had come with 50 warships, each one bigger than anything the peaceful Vani had ever built or imagined building. In 30 years of managing this station, Thara had seen pirates, weather crises, and the occasional diplomatic incident. She had never seen a war fleet filling the stars from horizon to horizon. How long until they reach us? She asked Chief Engineer Morden, though she already feared the answer. 20 minutes. Maybe less, he replied, his usually calm voice cracking with fear. Their weapons are charging, Ambassador. We need to evacuate. Vithera looked around the control room of their trading station. For 30 years, Kepler's Rest had been a place of peace and commerce, a jewel of the outer systems. Ships from dozens of different species came here to trade goods, share knowledge, and build friendships that spanned the stars. The Vani had built it as a symbol of everything they believed in, that the galaxy was large enough and generous enough for all beings to flourish together. Now the Korak were going to destroy it all. Have you sent the distress call? She asked. Yes, but the nearest Council peacekeeping force is 3 weeks away. The Korak will have us processed and shipped off to their slave worlds long before help arrives. Vithera closed her eyes. The Vani had evolved on a world with no predators, no wars, no violence. For all of recorded history, conflict between individuals had been resolved through mediation. They had joined the galactic community believing that all species shared their love of peace. The Korak had taught them, with brutal efficiency, how catastrophically wrong they were. This raiding fleet had already destroyed 2 Vani colonies in the past 18 months. Thousands of her people were now slaves in Korak mines, their gentle hands built for growing crops, now shackled to machinery in the dark. Send another message, she said quietly, to the humans. Morden looked shocked. The humans? But Ambassador, they only joined the Council 6 months ago. They have barely any ships. What could they possibly do? I don't know, Vithera admitted. But they are the only ones close enough to help. Their patrol fleet was reported near the Zeta sector yesterday. That's only 2 days from here. A patrol fleet, Morden said sadly. Probably 3 or 4 small ships. The Korak will brush them aside like insects. But Thera was already typing the emergency message. She had met the human ambassador once, a woman named Sarah Martinez, who had seemed kind but oddly intense. There had been something in her eyes that reminded Thera of the old predator species, the ones that most civilized worlds had long since moved past. But humans claimed to be peaceful traders and explorers, just like the Vani. The message was simple. Kepler's Rest under attack by Korak raiding fleet. 50 enemy warships. Request immediate assistance. We will be overrun within hours. Please help. She sent it on all emergency frequencies and sat back in her chair. On the screen, the Korak ships were close enough now that she could see their weapon ports opening. The leader of this fleet was Commander Thakmore, a brutal warrior who had personally overseen the enslavement of 6 different species. His flagship, the Blood Reaper, was already broadcasting on all frequencies. All civilians to the escape pods, Thara announced over the station's communication system. This is not a drill. Repeat, all civilians to escape pods immediately. But even as she said the words, she knew it was hopeless. The Korak were too fast, too well armed. Their ships would catch the escape pods before they could reach safety. The Vani would become slaves, and Kepler's Rest would become another Korak trophy. The first energy blasts hit the station's outer shields. The lights flickered, and Vithera felt the deck shake beneath her feet. Shield generators down to 60%, Morden reported. They're targeting our weapon systems first. What weapon systems? Vithera thought bitterly. The station had a few defensive turrets designed to stop pirates and asteroids. Against a Korek war fleet, they were meaningless gestures. More blasts hit the station. The lights went out completely, and emergency power kicked in, bathing everything in a dim red glow. She could hear the sound of metal tearing and atmosphere venting into space. "Ambassador," Morden said urgently. "I'm getting a response to our distress call. From the Council?" "No, from the humans." Vithara's heart skipped. "What do they say?" Morden read from his screen, his voice quiet with disbelief. "Message received. Help is coming. Hold position. Do not surrender. Admiral Sarah Chun, Human Fleet Command, Admiral." Vithara frowned. "I thought they only had a patrol group in this sector." "That's what the intelligence report said," Morden agreed. Another massive blast rocked the station. Deck plates buckled. Sparks flew from control panels. The Korak were getting more accurate. A harsh voice came over the communication system. It was Commander Thakmore himself. "Attention, Vani. This is your only warning. Surrender now, and we will be merciful. Your deaths will be quick. Resist, and we will make you suffer before you become our slaves." Morden looked at Vithara. The engineer was a gentle soul who had never harmed anything in his life. But now his face was set with quiet determination. "Send a reply," he said. "Tell him we're still here. Shield generators down to 20%. A technician called out. "Hull breaches on levels 7 through 12. We're losing atmosphere fast." The escape pods were launching now, silver dots fleeing into space. But just as Vithara had feared, Korak fighters were already moving to intercept them. She watched in horror as green energy beams reached out to disable the fleeing ships. Her people would not even be granted the mercy of death. "How long until the humans arrive?" she asked. Morden checked his calculations. "If they left immediately after receiving our message, and if they're truly only 2 days away, 36 hours at the earliest. We'll be dead in 2 hours," another technician said quietly. Farah nodded. But something inside her refused to give up. The human message had been so confident, so certain. "Help is coming. Do not surrender." As if Admiral Chun knew something that Farah did not, then came a second transmission from the human fleet. A new voice, calm and professional. "Kepler's Rest, this is Admiral Sarah Chun of the human fleet. We have received your distress call and are en route to your position. Estimated arrival in 18 hours. Hold your position and do not surrender. We are bringing adequate forces to resolve this situation." 18 hours, Morden said. Better than 36. But still, adequate forces, Vithara murmured. The words felt strange. What did adequate mean to a species with only a patrol fleet? 3 ships? 5? However many they had brought, it would not be enough against 50 Korak warships. But as the station continued to shake, and as her people continued to flee in their tiny pods, Vithara found herself holding onto that calm, confident voice. The humans were coming. Somehow that made the terror a little easier to bear. She just hoped some of them would still be alive to see it. Admiral Sarah. Chun stood on the bridge of the dreadnought Indomitable and read the distress message for the 3rd time. Around her, the usual sounds of a warship at work continued. Officers gave quiet orders. Computers hummed. Somewhere in the distance, she could hear the rhythmic steps of Marines doing their morning exercises. Everything was routine. Everything was about to change, ma'am. Commander Jackson, her second in command, was waiting. Sarah put down the message. 50 Korak ships attacking a peaceful trading station. She had read the intelligence reports on the Korak at length. They were slavers, raiders, and bullies who preyed specifically on species that could not fight back. The kind of enemy that made her job both necessary and, she admitted privately, deeply satisfying. "Signal the fleet," she said calmly. "All ships to combat readiness. We're going to war." Jackson blinked. Ma'am, should we not contact the Galactic Council first? Perhaps negotiate. Sarah looked at him with the expression that had earned her the nickname, Ice Queen, among the younger officers. Commander, 50 armed warships are attacking civilians. What exactly would you like to negotiate? Of course, Admiral. I'll signal the fleet immediately. As Jackson moved to carry out her orders, Sarah allowed herself a small, private smile. The galaxy had been very polite to humanity since they joined the Galactic Council 6 months ago. Very careful, very diplomatic. Most species seemed to assume humans were just another peaceful race of traders and explorers, charmed by the stars and motivated by curiosity. They had no idea what humans actually were. The training exercise had been her idea. 200 ships and 50,000 personnel conducting routine maneuvers in the Outer Rim territories. The Council had been told it was a way for humanity to practice space operations in their new fleet. What they had not been told was that this was a fully armed battle. Fleet equipped with the most advanced weapons humanity had ever built. Fleet signals ready. Admiral, put me through to all ships. The main screen lit up with dozens of smaller screens, each showing the bridge of a different human vessel. Captains, commodores, and ship commanders looked back at her. Some were young, some were old, but all of them had the same look in their eyes. They were warriors, and they had been waiting for this. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah,